Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out tonight. We've got a special interview for you. I've got Mr. Paradox himself. Paradox, who are you?
How's it going? So my name is Arpit, but I also go by Paradox, But I also go by Pit to a lot of friends. But I am the owner and CEO of Paradox Customs, and sometimes it's confusing because the socials are actually like BR Paradox.
Yeah.
And that's because that's like my personal name. That's the name I always use for gaming, and it's just something random I came up with. The BR doesn't actually stand for anything. A lot of people think it's stand for Brazil, and they're like, "Yo, shout out Brazil." I'm like,
Yo,
"No,
vamos, yeah.
if it works, man."
Yeah.
They think it's like stands for Brandon. They're like, "Yo, Brandon, can you help me with my PC?" And I'm like,
Who's Brandon?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like, "Where's he?"
He's not even my employee,
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm the owner of Paris Customs. We're a PC building company, like always have been. Obviously there's a lot of ways to pivot and do other things, but we just mostly focus on PC building. And we always have our backlog to sort of maintain, and that's always my goal. It's inventory, sales, content, production. But I definitely am interested and will probably branch off in the future and do other stuff. I want to, but that's pretty much the sort of elevator pitch. We build for a lot of celebrities, a lot of esports athletes, a lot of streamers, you name it.
Yeah, you've got a great clientele with likes of Celium from Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah, that he was actually the first ever like pro that we've ever sponsored, and he's such a top dog. And obviously, I kind of knew he was going to say yes, though, when I asked him because of the kind of relationship that we had. But it was still very nerve-wracking for the first person. Because, I didn't know how big my company was in terms of if I would be accepted into getting these kind of big-time sponsorships. But at the end of the day, what matters more, and it's a fact right here, because the proof is in the pudding, is that brand loyalty, brand trust is all you need. And that's, I don't consider them taking a risk by working with someone like me, It's because
brand quality too. You, my friend, have some of the most quality customs that I've seen in the scene.
Yeah, man, no, for sure. I think that's always my goal. I always every day I'm in the garage telling the team yo, we gotta be doing this, I've been seeing this, we gotta be doing that, and every day we're always talking about how to do things better, right? And we're very much perfectionists. And sometimes it's not healthy, but at the same time, we understand how competitive the market is, and it just so feels like we have certain areas where we always exceeded, and sort of stand out. So that's always been my goal, just production, and just the quality, because at the end of the day, people like us in other positions may only get 5 orders a month, and then sure, it's gonna be a sick build for all 5, but how can we do those high-end $4,000 or $5,000 builds for 200 of them a month?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of responsibilities, a lot of delegating I have to do. In terms of production, I don't really build PCs anymore, but I am in the garage a lot in terms of with the builders and sort of just doing everything together. So it definitely is a lot to maintain, and there's always going to be more of it.
So talking about that directorial dialogue that you've opened up within your company that you so cherish, and we can clearly see the passion is, like you said, it's in the pudding. Yeah. There's just so much quality and humanity, if that makes any sense, towards the company. What were the ideals? What does the company stand for in this terms of what they want to do? Because it's all about quality for you.
So I think my message and what I stand for is kind of we're the PC business if the typical PC enthusiast were to be blessed enough to actually start the PC company. Yeah. I grew up on Reddit, I grew up on Twitter,
yeah.
PC subreddits, I'm in there all day, every day, researching, and I'm talking when I was just an enthusiast myself. And when everyone's so picky in these communities, for good reason, and I learned from everyone's quality standards on the high end enthusiast, right? And I just preached by that, and everything started falling into place. everyone was so surprised at how good my part selection was, how good my pricing was. The truth is that like it's part fear of being like roasted
Yeah.
for doing it wrong, and it makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like I'm overworking myself to be this way. It's just transparent. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's truthfully just transparent, and also like just being competitive with not only the pre-built companies and not only like um, the other system builders like me, but it's being competitive with your homie that can build you a PC for the low. You know, like, yo, let's go to Micro Center right now. We'll pick out the parts, we'll take it home, and I'll build it to you for $100. How can me as a company beat that deal? If you're going to Micro Center, getting the parts at the cheapest possible like rate, because if you go to Micro Center, you can price match Amazon or price match whatever. So if you're price matching all the parts at the lowest rate, and then your boy's building to you for $150,
Yeah.
that's who I think of as my competitor.
Exactly.
When I look at other companies, they're charging like they're making like first. I mean, like kudos to them. Some PC builders will literally make like $1,000 on a build profit, right? Sometimes more. But like, I want to be competitive against everyone to where even if your boy does want to build a PC for you,
Boy Troy, you know.
yeah, like yo, don't go like like the
Don't
tradition.
go to Paradox. You know,
Yeah.
he's mainstream now. You know.
They're like, yeah, he's gonna cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And like now my goal is to like how to like actually educate that
Yeah.
like our prices are not an arm and a leg. It's actually revolutionary. And like it's just that's why we're growing so fast because we're doing things right, but I definitely need to advertise a little more. And that's why you see me on the timeline posting lists, posting
Yeah.
pricing. Cause like other people like, yo, how did he like why would he do that? Like why would he expose his pricing? Because we have the best price.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Your boy Troy ain't competing with
No.
you and the organization that you've built from the ground up, and coming personally from me, I've been in the market. Whenever I look at the Twitter from Paradox Customs, it's always great to see the clarity, like you said, that
Yeah.
transparency,
Yeah.
that you know what you're getting and you know what
Exactly.
you want, and with great masterminds behind the scene in such a vague and obscuring line that is PC building,
Yeah.
it's great to be able to have people that know what they're doing, know who they're talking about, and at the end of the day are humans just like us, and they're not just some organization looking to make a quick buck.
And that's the thing is like I've been blessed enough to not like become a suit, right?
Yeah.
Because like I come from such a well like known community, tightly knit but also huge. Like the fact that like you and I, I'm sure know like hundreds of people, and we've met these people at least once or twice. Like that's how I was when I was competing, right?
Yeah.
I was going to the events. I was still chill with everybody. Everyone knew me as Pitt or Paradox, and obviously like not the high end people. But when you have hundreds and hundreds of friends, AMs, amateurs, beginners, just like cool, and then you transition to selling a product, like it just worked for me. It really did. And from there, it's just been very consistent. And we've been doing I've been doing good numbers for like 2 years. We've been one of the most consistent businesses the last 2 years in terms of consistent revenue, and that's why I haven't like sort of caved in and like skyrocketed pricing because we've been on like that like exponential growth to where like I'm able to keep being me, right? And like the numbers are just whatever, right? I'm still focused on the vision, still focused on the community, the quality, and the pricing. So that's like it doesn't. It's very stressful, of course. This is like the most stressful job I could have ever imagined, and we definitely face a ton of financial hardship as a startup. Where I'm reinvesting every single dollar we have into the company, into inventory, and into pay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be ever seen as the guy that underpays people either. And esports, people are getting underpaid.
It's a crime.
It is a crime, and people will take it because it's kind of and I learned a lot about this, right? Because I tried to trial and error. I did internships. I did hourly. I did salary. I did everything you name it. And I had to figure out what worked for me because like we didn't have much money. So like, but at the same time, like I learned so much, and people are getting really underpaid, and I'm able to like since I've been sort of paying very fairly and like pay a lot of money, like it's kind of allowed me to grow my business because I'm expecting that sort of like pay every like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So like if you're forced to have these expenses, you're kind of forced to grow at such a fast pace as well. You know, so like I don't want to be like seen as like because some people get paid like just a couple $100 a month for like editing gigs.
Yeah.
And they're putting in 40 hours. Like it's just like I don't know.
The work doesn't equal out the pay. You know.
Yeah.
And I've met your team. You have a great group of guys that really feels like a tight knit family that works hard together. And I can definitely tell you as their leader, you have a sort of a shining light to these guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like around 80% of the team, 60 to 80% are actually my IRLs from like when I was like a baby. Like I have like elementary school friends.
Drake says, no new friends.
Dead ass. Because like, and we have top of the line training.
Yeah.
So for me, there's no like sometimes there's no point in hiring like someone already with PC skills because I've already trained 20 people. Like we have gone through the ringer of training, and I'm able to basically train anyone to be a PC expert. So like I'd rather just stick with my circle. Like I still got a bunch of friends back home that are ready to join the company that they don't know much about PCs, but like I just feel like I have a good plan, in terms of growth.
Great business model. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone wants to be a part of it, in terms of like sort of the experience. Obviously, working for Paradox is probably one of the best experience you could get as a job.
Big part of the resume. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Bolded.
like most employees work with me directly and sort of like just get that startup vibe. And we're always chugging, and we're always like, if we don't like knock out ABC, like we're chalked, we're screwed. So we never fail.
Do or die,
That's and also trial by fire.
Yeah.
Me, like I always sort of talk about how stressful it is, but like that's kind of how trial by fire is. Mm-hmm. Is like you learn from basically almost failing.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't go crazy or go over the top, then you should be good. So that's always my thing is mental health as well. It's just making sure I'm good, making sure I'm breathing right. Like it's a lot of stuff that comes in terms of like being able to like understand the tasks on your list. Sometimes my tasks are literally like 30 things. Mm-hmm. Like 30 important things as like a high level, and like it's just super demoralizing when you're only able to do like 4 to 5 things a day. Mm-hmm. But then you add more things, and then people start getting more impatient, and it's just like always a game of catch up. But that's gonna come a time, and I also actually hired a personal assistant too. So this is like
These are
the steps I'm taking to really just grow. Imagine how far a personal assistant's gonna take me personally, but also the company. So yeah, I mean that's a lot of the sort of stuff that goes on.
And you're heading in these new directions, and talking about directions, you recently partnered with us here at EZone Media. Yep. How did that go about? How do you feel about, this new partnership?
Because like I kind of wanted to do this, have a booth, and sort of like, help out. And the end goal is to obviously have the PCs as like my PCs as the ones being played. But me and Serge, who's the owner, one of the owners of EZone, me and him have a long relationship for about like 3 to 4 years, and it's all been love like ever since. And I basically talked to him. I was like, yo, what's it gonna take? I want to get booths at the events, basically support all the online stuff too, because EZone's not just LANs. They have like COD Agent, Halo Agent, and I see it too. Like I see a lot of people quoting like those announcements for like the tournaments, looking for teams and all that. And it's dope. Like what EZone is building is definitely sort of definitely the right direction, but more so like reminding everyone like, guys, we can't lose locals. We can't give up on the community. We can't give up on like what we're building and what we've been used to for the last 3 to 4 years. And we're not going to let COVID also like make us sort of never have locals ever again. I feel like we were close to that point. Like I feel like
we really were. It felt like an extinction point almost.
Yeah, it really did. It felt like at some point we might have never seen like locals again.
And you also got to remember, when COVID happened, we had just gotten into, a league format in terms of the CDL and the way things were headed. It was a bright future just to get slammed down by COVID. Things were not in a environment where we could grow as a scene. Then we came online, and then cheaters started running rampant. No flame to developers, and their decision was anti-cheat. But it was just a bad scenario overall, and yeah, it felt like we were never going to get back. It felt like esports was going to pass away. Yeah. And that was a dangerous spot to be in. So to be here now, and to be here now working with you, EsportsZone, it's been an absolute pleasure and an absolute blessing. Being here now, and you guys are missing out. This man has one of the most fun booths that I've ever seen. He's got the tech, he's got the knowledge, and not only that, the approachableness. I've been to a lot of events, a lot of places, PAX, different places, RTX, and whenever you go to a booth, you're new. You don't feel that type of approachableness. But when I came here, I saw his homies, I saw his team, I saw him, that smile on his face, the beautiful beard, lusciousness, and I said, I want to talk to this man. Yeah. And immediately, a kindling of a friendship was born right there and then. And you never get that with some of these organizers.
Nah, for sure. It's just like, I love talking to people.
Yeah.
And I love the vibes being built. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and show you the booth, like, yo, check this out. Like, I got this controller right here.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love it. I truly do love it. And I want to make sure I also get the sort of validation. It's also always about validation. But at the same time, it's just like making sure we're on the same page, and like, the vibes will come, the friendship will come. And I'm able to really get along with almost anyone. It's very just like PCs are a part of everything. But me personally, I feel like I've been blessed enough to have like the right path and the right road to this point, right? Mm-hmm. Like I grew up really into basketball and hip hop, and that kind of ties in a lot too to like being chill with everyone. I feel like me, being a part of that culture is easier to like dap up anybody. Like, yo, what's good, bro? Like, what do we have mutual? Oh, we do have this? All right, we're best friends.
Yeah.
And other people don't have that ability, truthfully, but you just gotta develop it. It's I can't say that. I'm sure there's cons. Obviously, you can like definitely be taken advantage of, but I don't worry about that. I worry about the positives, and anyone I meet, it's just until you sort of give me a reason not to sort of trust you, I'm gonna mess with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you already can't tell the class act that is Mr. Paradox himself, make sure you go check him out at BR Paradox. Do you have anything to say to the fans at home before we head out?
Keep checking out EZone. They're doing amazing things. And if you're looking for a PC, I really do think that we are the premier option. It's about our warranty as well. If you buy a computer for us, like our warranty goes, it's better than any other company by far. Like we will respond, we'll get on a FaceTime call, Discord call, whatever. The moment I hear an issue, my heart sinks. The whole team sinks, and like we're talking
it's
about,
your baby.
Yeah, and like yo, we'll literally be in the work group chats, like yo, like his shit's what are we doing? Like how can we fix it? And we're all like, yo, what do we do? And like we fix it, and then we're all like high five, like company dinner, time to go out. Like
exactly.
Like we can't afford to have these issues because we have such a good reputation, and like it's so easy to be like sort of cast a spell in terms of one bad customer. So like if you just and like obviously you don't want to live by fear though, right? Yeah. And I definitely do live by a little bit of fear. Fear definitely ties in, but it's more about just like as long as I keep doing what's right, then like you'll keep having success. And then the sort of the outliers that have issues is kind of like a little bit of fear, but also just like get the bun,
Yeah.
So I think we just keep living by that, and it's working. So we'll just keep riding that.
Yeah, make sure you go check him out once again at BR Paradox. Go get your custom belts. The quality, the trust, the loyalty, the transparency. It is unparalleled. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for enjoying this interview with us. We'll be back to our regular streamed times, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Peace.